Sure. Incidentally, we have several more stories.
The legislature was carefully crafted to
22.2% inflation rates as of April this year. What does that say about where we are as a country?
I think Nigeria has resorted to being resilient.
Before you call a police station, before they even leave, they'll take permission from
I don't think there's really anything on ground to improve.
the struggle, the ASU strike.
The Minister of Education volunteered and said, give me 2 weeks.
It was a lie. The president never gave me any deadline.
It's a great weekend, and there's no better way to welcome you to this edition of Global Morning. I'm Wiyad Mofwewe. This is Global Television. We're in Abuja, the capital city of Nigeria. My colleague Queen Agaba is on the show. It's the first time Queen and I will be on Global Morning Saturday.
In a while. Okay, oh yeah,
Yeah,
true,
the first time on
Saturday.
right.
On a Saturday.
But
we could
weekdays,
always
been
during
a
the
bunch
week.
of times actually. How's your weekend going?
Interesting. Started off at work. Of course, I was at work yesterday until somewhere past 9 p.m. And, you know, we're here again. It continues.
Continue where we left off.
We continue where we left off, actually.
You know, it's a weekend, and we'll try to play down a little because of the fact that the week had been very busy for many people, starting with us here at Global Television, right? The workload, the demand of deadlines that you have to meet, everything is based on timing, schedule, stringent schedule in most cases, you know, and what have you. But Nigeria too has been a very busy country this entire week. This morning I was coming and I was just thinking to myself on my way to work about queues that you find at filling stations and what they're doing. So basically, I mean, Nigerians trying to get fuel. At one time we were talking about the products not being available. Later it became a conversation around the price. But now it appears it's a combo of both factors. But we're hearing that from next week, the Dangote refinery will begin making product available full stream. But we hope again it's not going to be one of those several promises, you know, that we had seen in recent times, and we hope that it's not enough that the Dangote refinery becomes optimally functional, but that it will also help to, as it were, cut down on price going forward.
Absolutely, I quite agree. And but you know, the fact that Dangote doesn't determine the price, and that's
It's a concern.
Yeah, it's a concern for a lot of Nigerians because Dangote is supposed to determine the price, and we hope that there's a difference. We see there's a reasonable margin between imported petroleum and, you know, our own petroleum here. But it's a free market economy, like, you know, they put it. So. But we can only hope for the best as regards this issue of petroleum and the Dangote refinery.
Right. Again, it shows that as a country, Nigeria must have to redeem itself from the embarrassment. Yes, it's one thing that we're seeing the socio-economic implications now playing out. Our Nigerians are basically suffering in a country where they supposedly have these products in large quantity, but then they have to pay through their nostrils to get it. Adds to that, the inconvenience, the discomfort they have to subject themselves to just to be able to buy fuel. We're going to take a quick break now, everyone. When we return, we'll be taking a look at the papers for you. Of course, we have several papers on the
Lined up for you.
Hello and welcome to Sports. The Super Eagles began live in the qualifiers for the
It's time for sports' biggest moments on global television. The headlines, scores, breaking news, and commentaries on sporty events. Talking with the biggest players, strikers, and about the slam dunks and goals, stunning saves, near misses, and upsets. Let's talk about the greatest home runs, comebacks, knockdowns, and victories. Talk Sports with the King of Sports, Anthony Momodu. Weekdays, 10 a.m. Don't miss out.
Business Point on Global Television.
The business world can be dynamic and unpredictable, with headwinds and volatility sometimes becoming an obstacle for players in the business and economy landscape. Watch Business Point on Global Television as Samuel Oji walks you through the twists, turns, and curves in bands, stocks, and crucial market indices from a global standpoint. Watch Business Point weekdays on Global Television at 11 a.m. West African time. Business Point. This is
Okay, time to turn to big stories for you across our national days. This is a very promising Saturday on the program. We begin with first news. The Star story here says, ingratitude is unacceptable. I will never support Fubara again. Wike declares. The writer here reads, accuses Rivers governor of betrayal, lies. If you take it a notch below that big story there, it says, major blow to terrorism. NAF eliminates notorious terrorists. Let's see, Sububu, 38 followers, but then Bello territory is still the target with a lot of bounty placed on his head right now. Turns out that's the much we can bring to you from the first news this morning. And this paper is The Guardian, and Queen has that. All right.
On the front page of the Guardian newspaper, big story there says, you take big story for...
Right, let's see what the Guardian has for us quickly. Well, as is always the case, a bit of graphics on the front page of the Guardian says, risks notwithstanding, what makes egg donation alluring to young women. This in itself is a huge, very timely conversation, right? Egg donation, we understand there's so much, I mean, it's almost like an industry itself right now. The health space globally is evolving, Nigeria being part of it, apparently. A lot of young girls seem to be naive about these things. They're not properly educated. They're not well guided in terms of what the implications are, all right, what the factors should be in terms of what informs donation of eggs and all of that. And Guardian has done a beautiful work on that for you this morning, so I suggest you take a look at it for yourself this Saturday. But then there is also the leadership weekend. We have the leadership weekend as well. Here it says, Branu Dam disaster, we are dying of hunger. victims crowds. It has about 5 riders with it. Of course, this is not shocking. I mean, as sad as it is, we all knew that when this Borno Dam issue happened, I mean, the flooding in Maiduguri in particular, this was going to be part of the aftermath. And today, the victims, those who have been displaced, those whose houses have been washed away, those who have lost loved ones, are crying for help. But we need to take a quick break on the program. We're back shortly with the rest of the papers for you to stay with us.
Business Point on Global Television.
The business world can be dynamic and unpredictable, with headwinds and volatility sometimes becoming an obstacle for players in the business and economy landscape. Watch Business Point on Global Television as Samuel Oji walks you through the twists, turns and curves in bands, stocks and crucial market indices from a global standpoint. Watch Business Point weekdays on Global Television at 11 a.m. West African time. Business Point. This is Global Morning is your ultimate destination for engaging political and economic matters. I am Uyi Agmofrebe.
And don't forget to include social discussions. Tune in every weekdays from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. I am Queen Agaba.
For insightful breakfast ideas, business summaries, sports highlights, international and local news perspective, I am Anthony Momodu.
Don't miss the in-depth analysis of current and political issues by the Global Morning team and experts. I am Jumai Manson.
Catch Global Morning here on Global Television. Getting on the action. I am Edikan Michael.
We are
the Global Morning team.
Global Morning is your ultimate destination for engaging political and economic matters. I am Uyi Agmofrebe.
And don't forget to include social discussions. Tune in every weekdays from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. I am Queen Agaba.
For insightful breakfast ideas, business summaries, sports highlights, international and local news perspective, I am Anthony Momodu.
Don't miss the in-depth analysis of current and political issues by the Global Morning team and experts. I am Jumai Manson.
Catch Global Morning here on Global Television. Getting on the action. I am Edikan Michael.
We are
the Global Morning team.
Morning is your ultimate destination for engaging political and economic matters. I am Uyi Agmofwebe.
And don't forget to include social discussions. Tune in every weekdays from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. I am Queen Agaba.
For insightful breakfast ideas, business summaries, sports highlights, international and local news perspective, I am Anthony Momodu.
Don't miss the in-depth analysis of current and political issues by the Global Morning team and experts. I am Jumai Manson.
Catch Global Morning here on Global Television. Getting on the action. I am Edikan Michael.
We are
the Global Morning team.
Many thanks for staying with us. It's time for us to bring the papers for you. Again, this time we're starting with the Guardian newspaper, and on the front page of the Guardian newspaper, big story there says, risks notwithstanding, what makes egg donation alluring to young women? A while back, he was just telling us about how young women are not aware of the consequences and implications of these egg donations. Also, we have ECPO harnessing Nigeria's untapped gas potential for economic development. And Iradia, as a developing society, Nigeria must not foolishly tie itself to a political party. And then underneath the Guardian nameplate, we have Tinubu and the writing on the wall inside stuff. These are the stories we have on the front page of the Guardian newspaper. Our next point of call will be the leadership weekend, which Uyi will
Let's see the leadership for you quickly. Top stories just above the nameplate with a picture of the controversial minister of the Federal Capital Territory, former governor of Rivers State, Nyesom Wike. It says, Rivers crisis, no regrets, threatening PDP governors. That is Wike there talking. Board promotes 20,867 NIS and SCDC other paramilitary officers. What else? Minimum wage. FG inaugurates committee on consequential adjustments. Yes, that's going to take a while, but the good thing is we've started. Brand new disaster. We are dying of hunger. Victims cry out. Several riders there. Accused officials of selective treatment as 3 die in food stampede. More families declare members missing. 300 separated children in camps. The magnitude of destruction can't be determined now, says Governor Zulum. Dangote donates 1.5 billion naira. Governors, others mobilize more funds. A flood looms in southern states. FG warns. Of course, we understand just yesterday, for example, that there's going to be a lot of flooding coming on account of some sort of quote-unquote overflow from rivers Niger and Benue, and that in itself will have very devastating adverse impact on the southern part of the country, right? But in the meantime, Burundi is in front of us. Now we're hearing that Dangote has donated 1.5 billion. There's some other 3 billion funding somewhere. The governor has made a lot of pledges. The statewide broadcast agencies of the federal government have also put in resources and continue to do so. What else? Development partners are doing their beats along those lines as well. But as is always the case with us, we hope when this all settles, I mean at some point, it doesn't become an issue of some agencies of governments, some private entities who are supposed to be NGOs, some individuals are not being wanted by the EFCC and the SCPC as to how these monies were spent. Because it will appear, I mean, we have so much of evidence to back this. Now, every time you have this sort of disaster, there are people whose only concern and preoccupation is how to milk those who are already, as it were, exploited, so to speak, on account of this sort of disaster. So we hope all these resources go to those who are the targets, beneficiaries.
Absolutely. And then, moving forward, are we going to have a repeat of what has just happened? We understand that there are unforeseen circumstances. There are circumstances that, we cannot control, forces of nature that we cannot control. But I believe that the NEMA and NIMET and relevant agencies have to do their bit. State government as well have to do their bit to ensure that we don't have cases of flooding again. Right. What happened last year? I always say this, that if we continue to do a particular thing over and over and over, and we're expecting different results, is foolishness. And also in the part of the government as well, what happened last year, particularly now that there's flooding, we're going to start hearing cases of, there's petrol scarcity in those areas. Meanwhile, we know we've had predictions of flooding. We expect that tankers are supposed to have arrived in different parts of the country where are prone to flood. Right. Store these petrols in those areas so that when cases like this come up, at least we can have mobility in some areas and not a total shutdown of an entire state. And then we see also these interventions that have been given out to these states. We see NGOs give out palliatives. We see federal government, even individuals and private organizations as well, lending helping hands. We see people distribute food items. I tell you, it is bad. It's not just bad, it's appalling that an entire state, is in that state. And then the method of distribution. How is this? Who monitors? Who follows? Because it's so difficult to trust even the government officials, because we see the humanitarian ministry, right, and what happens, the stories around these palliatives, these funds meant for people who are in dire need, and how it was, siphoned and all of that, all the drama around a ministry that should be crucial and critical at this point in time. And then we now have these monies that are coming out, even from foreign organizations as well, for these flood victims. How is it being, circulated? Who monitors it? Who monitors the implementation and all of that to see that? But my major concern is moving forward. I hope we don't have a case of flooding again, where we're going to have, this magnitude of flood, this magnitude of inconvenience on the people, because relevant agencies and parastatals refused to do their due diligence.
Right. It's crazy. Queen, it will also bother you further, knowing that this had happened 30 years ago, and you're asking yourself.
And even worse now.
Right. In 3 decades, what lessons did we learn, and in what specific ways did we take proactive steps, all right, to apply those lessons to real-time realities? And then, but again, we know better now. But we do hope that the government of Borno State, and indeed all the critical stakeholders understand what has happened now, and then take a cue from it. All right, let's see a few other headlines for you this morning. One with a picture of Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa. Here says that troops kill terrorists, Kingpin Halilu Bazu members in Zamfara. Zamfara has been a hotspot for banditry for quite some time now, but then we still have a few of the kingpins being on the wanted list of the military. Medical experts dismiss narration of 11 babies' delivery. Are they saying it's not possible? Are they saying it was some sort of story that was just whipped up for sentiment or for clouds on social media battles? I don't know, but it's the first time I hear of 11 babies at a single birth.
At a single birth. Oh, so the multiple births that I've been hearing of, okay, I've not been particular about how many babies, but I see lots of babies on the bed. We see quintuplets has to do with 6 or 5, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
7 babies and all of that. But okay,
yes.
But 11 is actually a lot of babies right there. And yes, and but these days we hear that there are miracles, that even defies scientific principles. So we hear of these birds. Well, if the doctor dismisses it, and maybe more investigation should be thrown into how that came about, who took the delivery of the babies. Was it done in the house? Was it a traditional process and not an actual orthodox method.
Right.
So more investigation should be done. It could be possible that one woman had those babies.
Well, I think that conversation is going to be a long drawn out one. But we'll have the Nation newspaper for you after which we'll take a break. In the meantime, we'll walk us through the headlines of the Nation.
Okay, on the front page of the Nation newspaper, big story there says, Wike, no apologies for threatening PDP governors with fire. Anger in Fuba's camp as PDP grants FCT minister control of rivers. Above the nameplate, we have Edo Goba election, APC dares PDP to fulfill boycott threat. Edo, the gubernatorial election in Edo has been interesting and a whole lot with the PDP refusing to sign the peace accord and all that. Right. We also have all marketers fault Dangote refinery's claim of low patronage. Also, we have former minister in dirty paternity row. We also have flooding. Federal government puts Niger Delta, southern states on alert. Police recover 11 bodies in Borno. What's even most devastating about this Borno? I mean, everything has gone wrong already. We know how bad it is already. But what is sad and devastating is the fact that there was a prison break in Borno State, and then we heard of escape from animals in the zoo.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, not just inmates, animals in the zoo. So even after the flood, dies down, we're still going to have increased rate of crime. Police need to be at alert for people who these are hardened criminals who have escaped, and of course Borno has been in the map for terrorism and kidnapping and all that for over a decade, and now we even have a prison break amidst this flood, and then the escape of wild animals as well. I think crocodile was found in some residents in Borno State and other very deadly animals. So more work needs to be done in Borno State. So these are the stories that we have on the front page of the Nation. Okay, we have one more story. It says Dangote refinery begins distribution of PMS tomorrow. We look forward to that. That's according to Edo. Right. It says the distribution of PMS by Dangote refinery begins tomorrow. We look forward to that, particularly because there's been a lot of controversy around this PMS. How much is it going to sell for? Why is it not selling yet? And all of that. But it's good to know that our own would be distributed tomorrow, and we hope that Nigerians find it appealing.
Right. Sure. Okay, so let's take a quick break now, everyone. We're not done with the papers just yet. It's more like the first lap of it. But we have a big conversation focusing on the fusion between technology and business and economy. What are the basic elements in that conversation? In what remarkable ways has tech, if you like, influenced, or if you like, disrupted business and economy, whether it's in Nigeria or on a global scale? We'll let you in on that after the break. Stay with us. Global Morning is your ultimate destination for engaging political and economic matters. I am Uyi Agmofwebe.
And don't forget to include social discussions. Tune in every weekdays from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. I am Queen Agaba.
For insightful breakfast ideas, business summaries, sports highlights, international and local news perspective, I am Anthony Momodu.
Don't miss the in-depth analysis of current and political issues by the Global Morning team and experts. I am Jumai Manson.
Catch Global Morning here on Global Television. Getting on the action. I am Edikan Michael.
We are
the Global Morning team.
Business Point on Global Television.
The business world can be dynamic and unpredictable, with headwinds and volatility sometimes becoming an obstacle for players in the business and economy landscape. Watch Business Point on Global Television as Samuel Oji walks you through the twists, turns and curves in bonds, stocks and crucial market indices from a global standpoint. Watch Business Point weekdays on Global Television at 11 a.m. West African time. Business Point. This is
It's time for sports' biggest moments on global television. The headlines, scores, breaking news and commentaries on sporty events. Talking with the biggest players, strikers, and about the slam dunks and goals, stunning saves, near misses and upsets. Let's talk about the greatest home runs, comebacks, knockdowns and victories. Talk Sports with the King of Sports, Anthony Momodu. Weekdays, 10 a.m. Don't miss out.
Global Morning is your ultimate destination for engaging political and economic matters. I am Uyi Agmofrebe.
And don't forget to include social discussions. Tune in every weekdays from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. I am Queen Agaba.
For insightful breakfast ideas, business summaries, sports highlights, international and local news perspective, I am Anthony Momodu.
Don't miss the in-depth analysis of current and political issues by the Global Morning team and experts. I am Jumai Manson.
Catch Global Morning here on Global Television. Getting on the action. I am Edikan Michael.
We are
the Global Morning team.
Morning is your ultimate destination for engaging political and economic matters. I am Uyi Agmofwebe.
And don't forget to include social discussions. Tune in every weekdays from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. I am Queen Agaba.
For insightful breakfast ideas, business summaries, sports highlights, international and local news perspective, I am Anthony Momodu.
Don't miss the in-depth analysis of current and political issues by the Global Morning team and experts. I am Jumai Manson.
Catch Global Morning here on Global Television. Getting on the action. I am Edikan Michael.
We are
the Global Morning team.
At the turn of the 21st century, the way we do business across the globe has evolved very tremendously, regardless of the scale of business. The introduction of technology across platforms now makes it very possible for businesses to interact beyond borders. It also means that a lot of disruption has happened across sectors, whether it's in agriculture, consulting of any kind, of course, in banking and finance. And today the term fintech has become a household name, all thanks to that, if you like, marriage between technology and money as we know it. So banking today, for example, is not as same as what we knew some 2-3 decades ago. Today, in 2024, people have many more options for interacting with their banks, their businesses, than they did a few years before today. But again, that in itself, like everything else, has come with its own challenges. We've seen threats to technology. We've heard about all kinds of hacking that are not ethical. We heard about things around business email compromise, for instance. We've heard about people who have done wire fraud on a scale that is only imagined that experience. But time will fail us to go into all of those rigorous details. In the meantime, I want to just create insights and perspectives for you as to how tech has created a fusion with business and economy. Our guest is someone who has experience, substantial experience under his belt in this regard. Elvis Abuyere is the Chief Executive Officer and Managing Director of Skywise Group. It's a pleasure to have you on the program.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here this morning.
Great.
Welcome.
Queen and I will engage you for the next few minutes. At least that will be a highlight of your weekend as well. I look back now and I remember how we used to go to Cyber Cafe to interact, to chat on Yahoo Messenger, and then later you got to have things like a High Five, and you got things like MySpace. But I know the Facebook generation will not understand those platforms. Really. But then, this is where we're coming from. And in 2024, that evolution has even become a bit more drastic. Talk to us about how technology drives businesses real time.
All right, thank you so much. Like you said, based on the background, how we have found ourselves in the area of tech in 21st century. If you look at it, for me, I tell people how technology have invaded our world in terms of from the 80s that was given birth to. We used to have what we call the personal computers. And in the 90s, it was internet. Right. Now in the 20s, it was social media. And now we have the area of the AI. We are losing our own organic mindsets as a result of technologies, and actually making a lot of people or forcing people and businesses into the area of depression. Why? Because the AI is a robot that's taking our job on a daily basis. In fact, even in our communication today, you now see people having a sit-out gathering instead of going for the sharing idea and discussing. Everybody on their phones, discussing with people wherever they are far from them. neglecting the importance of people around them where they can share ideas, something that can make progress and drive the economy. For instance, I tell people, yes, good social media and the technology are tools to help us to navigate towards a better reforms, and because of the way we are, we cannot really take it away from era of technologies, because these are tools that we need as a necessity. The COVID came. During the COVID, we saw what happened. We were thinking that our mindset have changed in terms of the way we do businesses and we view things. People used to think going on the days where you have to be physically present to exchange your time, effort for money. But now the technology have taken place. But how I tell people is that, despite the technology that have come to stay, people are also losing values, losing money, because they don't have the capacity to utilize this technology in the right directions. So most people use it in a negative aspect, especially the social media. For instance, I tell people post all kinds of things on social media, but at the same time, social media, a lot of people are using it to make money, businesses, and so influencers in so many ways. So what I tell you, any businesses that's not involving, that are not buying or imbibing technology into the system, we're definitely going to die naturally. You are seeing the space whereby you have the shops, people want to shop these days and they shop online. So these are a result of technology that we have in 21st century. So many ways. So what I tell everybody out there, or businesses out there, you must, as a matter of necessity, align your business, whatever idea you have with technologies, in the area for the results you want to see.
Interesting. Just before Queen jump into the conversation, from your narrative, it appears technology is essentially a blessing and a curse. So it depends on how you use it, right?
Definitely.
But let's talk about how that in Nigeria today, it appears we don't have so much of an environment that encourages the adoption of, if you like, cutting-edge technology. Yeah. For the most part, what we have is a bunch of young people who are forward-looking, creating a cluster of hubs here and there, incubation centers, particularly in places like Lagos. We see what CC Hub, for example, is doing in Lagos, now Minister of Innovation and Digital Economy, Dr. Bosun Tijani, and all that. But the question is Africa actually, if you like, being on the forefront of technological advancement, or are we playing catch-up behind the civilized world?
For me, I won't say we are playing catch-up behind the civilized world, but unfortunately, we're not ready for certain technology that have invaded our space. And what I tell people, this has actually shaped the way we view or see things. So, for instance, the human mind, the way it's been wired, when technologies comes to play now and you don't have the capacity to utilize it, you begin to use it in the wrong direction. For instance, there's a technology we bought a few weeks ago, and because we're actually having our automobile service center, where we are buying it from the manufacturer. They told us this is only for where we are the fourth people that are selling it to in Nigeria. Now, we have paid for this. It was delivered a few weeks ago. We're starting our service center in a few weeks from now. Now we don't have people back home that have the capacity at the moment to even utilize that technologies. So what we are now doing, they recommend, so you know what, we're going to send our staff down there from the manufacturer that's going to train your people how to use the technology, because the way it's being wired, this technology can actually diagnose any car from 1935. And it can decode and solve coding problem. Instead of you when you diagnose a car, you are sending the code to Germany, to Canada, and so America for them to code it for you. This technology can solve that problem. But the human mind at the moment, let's say back home now, we don't have the capacity. So it means that technology actually invaded us unprepared, unexpected. So we need to now catch up with technology. How do we going to do that? Like you said during the program, it's for we to probably begin to align our mind to new things, just like our mobile phones. Every moment, and I tell you, optimize me, upgrade me, and so on. It means that we are optimizing, upgrading our phones, our technology, but we are not optimizing our mind. Let me use the word of the Holy Scripture, which says the book of Romans chapter 12, verse 2. It says, renew your mind every day, so you can be able to catch up with purpose, with advancement, and so many other things out there. So what I advise is that people should be able to learn, begin to attend seminars, begin to attend skills acquisitions, begin to build capacity, because we are talking about the AI now, right? In 2010 now. We don't know what will happen in the nearest decade.
Right.
We don't know what is coming, what is before us. So what I tell us or people or businesses, begin to train yourself, train your team. Like for instance, we had a training a few weeks ago, and whereby I have to buy like close to over 20 books. So some of my team we need to read. It is not about, I have a certificate and so on. The certificate is good, no doubt, but right now, the certificate cannot actually catch up with trend. So these are the issues actually affecting us, affecting businesses at the moment at back home.
Right.
Yeah, interesting. You know, when we talk about tech and innovation, particularly here in this part of the world, the economy, the climb doesn't really align actively with technology. We have challenges of when we even talk about the internet, we still have places where people don't even have mobile phones that have access to the internet and all of this stuff, and that can be hindering for businesses who want to saturate the market in those local areas. How do businesses, reach those areas where technology is not infused yet?
Well, for me, in that aspect, I think that there are rules whereby, there are things whereby you have to mature into. It doesn't just happen overnight. If we look at the Western world, it took them years to probably get it saturated to wherever they want to be. So we need to be patient in certain areas. I understand the fact that the government have to put an enable environment in place, good infrastructures and so on to attract this technology. We're talking about 5G today now. There are places where 5G is not, you can't get 5G. Even the so-called 4G, like you said, there are some rural areas. Right. But the only thing that we need to begin to say how we can be able to enhance this productivity to ensure that everybody will catch up with it. And the unfortunate is that it's not everybody that will be able to use the technologies, no matter how available it is in our domain or environment. So in that aspect, we just have to keep doing our best and ensure that if I know something, my ability to transfer what I know to other people, that's how I begin to reach out to even more the unreached people.
Today, Africans are trying to, Queen's going to get right back into the conversation in a bit, but I mean, this is a continent of 54 countries, right? And we see young people, talented, innovative, with or without a college degree, university degree, and what have you. They're doing a lot of work online, legitimately. Online gigs, Upwork and other similar platforms and all of that. And they're making a whole lot of money. They say it is the digital economy. Are we being able to harness these altogether? Because some few years ago, I read up something where there was some report from Reuters about how that in California, for example, Silicon Valley was doing about 500 billion in GDP. That's just one small part of one state in a country of 50 states. Of course, on some scale, we can't compare Nigeria and the United States. Because tech rises and falls with them, and it starts and ends with them, so to speak. But in Nigeria, what must we do as the leading light, so to speak, in Africa, to also ensure that we drive technology in such a way that we can come head to head, shoulder to shoulder with other parts of the world?
All right, so what I tell people around the world is that the future of Africa is entrepreneurship. Yeah, so it is a matter of necessity whereby we need to start investing in young people, because I tell people Nigerians are one of the most energetic and dynamic people in the surface of the world. I've been around a few countries and I'm saying this with both confidence that Nigeria are resilient people. So it is high time the government needs to begin to pay attention to young people and begin to utilize the strength and capacity that we have, especially now whereby they are so much passionate about into the area of the technologies, social medias and so on. So what I tell people is that when I have the opportunity to speak directly to the government, I say we need, as a matter of necessity, begin to create platforms and programs that will enhance the ideas and capacity of these young people in the area of where they want to do. I tell people, for instance, what the government are trying to do the day now is they are trying to use feed people, give them fish and so on. This probably will not stand the test of time. What will stand the test of time is that teach them how to fish. Teach them how to harness things for themselves. How we're going to do this is that begin to cultivate the area whereby I said national programs, national orientation program, state orientation program every quarter. There is no way. A few months ago, I was at this meeting during the International Youth Day, and my friend took me around, the DJ took me around and showed me a lot of stuff they were doing and enhancing young people, even in the rural areas, skills acquisition and so on. So these are programs whereby that we need, because you know why. What we used to know before now is becoming obsolete because of the area of technology that invading our space. So what we need to, as a matter of fact, begin to teach people, you know what, yeah, it's good to go to school, it's good to go and get certificate, but guess what, do not rely, don't depend on your certificate. What can you do? What skills can we do? So those are the platforms and programs that government need to be setting in place from the local government, from the state level, and from the federal level. Every now and then, we need this program, because in the nearest future, I tell you the truth, a lot of people will fall into depression the more. Why? Because they will not be able to catch up with the trend of technologies. So these are things I feel that should be done, and it's very, very necessary if we really want to develop Nigeria and develop Africa, because we are the giant of Africa. Look at the life of China today, where we have over 60% of entrepreneurs in the space of the economy. So how many people do we have in Nigeria or in Africa? Made mention about 54 countries in the continent. So it's a matter of necessity, and we are the giant of Africa. And entrepreneurship is the way to go. I tell people, the wealth of a nation is not measured by the money in circulation. Yes, it's good. Nigeria, there's money, there's cash, but we don't have money. For my own discovery, because you know why? Real money is not cash. It is the output of a productive mind. How productive is our mind? The young people actually have it, but the government need to look into the area of unless these young people come. What are they doing in China that we can't do in Nigeria? What are they doing in the rest of the world that we can't do? What can you do? Put them in your room, train them, and if possible, give them seed capital for them to start something. If you're able to train 50, 100, 200 people, and you know they are well trained, they are well fit, they have the right material, they have the right mindset, and you leave them, give them a space of 3 to 6 months, 1 year at max, they will break even. They will now also go back and empower the young people, because there is nobody that is a monopoly of knowledge. What I know, share to the younger generation, what they also know, they also want to share to their own community. That's how we can develop. Everybody should come. Just like I tell people, the area of when David Ricardo say, everybody should begin to harness the area of specialization. What do you think you can do better? Bring what I can do better, bring it. We bring it to the table and refine it. Then we'll probably have a progress. And that's how it works for me.
Before we go to the challenges that tech infusing tech in the business world, let's look at how policymakers and government officials can help expand technology in the business world and in the economy at large. How do you see so far, what are the inputs of the government? How has the government been able to somehow support small and medium scale businesses, or even help infuse technology? And what do you think the government can do better in this regard?
Well, like I said earlier on, that the government are trying their best in their own capacity. I made mention about when I visited Smith a few months ago, and it took me around about a lot of updated equipment, machines, trying to help young people to understand if you want to go into tailoring, this is for you. If you want to go into farming, this is for you. If you want to go into a lot of stuff, which is good. I commend Smith for that, and I commend the government for putting that initiative in place. But like I said, though much is given, much is expected. We need more, because we're over 250 million people in Nigeria. And the way it is that you can see, because of our level of populations, the Chinese, the Japanese are fighting about the market of Africa. So government need to come up with more information, more ways for people to understand that what happened, what used to be relevant in 20 years ago, 30 years ago, is obsolete today. What are those new ideas we need to inculcate in the life of these young ones? They need to have the pathway and the direction, so they can have a sense of belonging. So these are programs whereby that will help them every now and then. And when they do this, the government put it in and also create an enable environment. Like I say, for business to strive in Nigeria today, it's really challenging. I won't lie to you, because the odds against us are numerous. You have to fight for your own electricity, you have to fight for your own infrastructural space and so many other things. And yet at the same time, you have to break even. So it's really challenging. So what I tell people, an opportunity to be in the face of the government, create an enable environment for people to strive, for businesses to strive. Like I said also, Nigerians are talented. We just need the right platform to strive. And that right platform is not about you giving us fish. You should teach us how to fish by creating different platforms for us to learn. Learning is a continuous thing. It's self-educations, read books, programs, and so on. With that, we're going to take the sky just going to be a stepping stone for us in Nigeria, because I believe in this great country, and I believe that someday the world will come and celebrate us.
I don't know how much you're familiar with the dynamics around cryptocurrency. That again has been a very controversial discourse in Nigeria, whether at the policy level, within the finance space, or amongst regular people or those who are practitioners. In 2020, we had the NSAS protests. I guess most likely that was when the conversation around cryptocurrency became very popular.
Yeah.
At that time, the Nigerian government became uncomfortable, for want of better words, about the phenomenon called crypto. And then the CBN clamped down on those who had crypto-related transactions and what have you. And then the former Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, himself a senior lawyer and somebody who is very vast with economic issues, said that rather than ban crypto altogether, let's find a framework, put a framework in place to regulate it instead. Today, Germany is talking about crypto, the US is talking about crypto, across Asia, even in some part of the Middle East is talking about crypto. Some part of Africa, particularly East Africa, from Rwanda to Kenya, even in Uganda, you're talking about crypto. What should we know about crypto as a country? In other words, in what ways can we best maximize the blessing, the opportunities that come with crypto?
So I've heard a lot of people talk about crypto and do business in crypto, but my question is that has crypto been legalized in Nigeria? Has it been legalized? I ask the question. As a medium of payment. I'm not.
Obviously, the situation as of today is clear. Crypto is not yet a policy issue, so there's no framework around it. So it's neither here nor there, even though we know the government has had issues with people who trade crypto all the time.
Yeah, so because I actually know have vast knowledge about crypto because I'm not actually into it. I don't understand the platform, but I also know based on what you said and somebody that is actually invading the banking space and the ways of medium of payment. But at the moment, I actually don't have full knowledge about it. But if it becomes necessary, I have no choice. I'll probably find a way to probably grind it into my own way of medium of payment. Yeah, so that's what I can say about that.
That's interesting to know. But let's look at the challenges. While we know that technology is very pivotal to business and the economy at large, let's look at some of the challenges and how we can navigate it in this part of the world. We know that we already have the challenge of insecurity, and we know how no nation can thrive actively where there's insecurity. People cannot do business actively, and of course technology cannot thrive as well. But let's look at other challenges that could be a hindrance to the infusion of technology and innovation.
Okay, so challenges are numerous when it comes to business, when it comes to life. It's normal. Every industry actually have their challenges, and every person out there trying to make ends meet definitely going to face one or two challenges. And when I tell people advice for us, so maybe you probably want to pick a copy of my book, Wrong the Challenges of Life. I tell you cannot by research. Challenges of life have access to everybody, but does not have control over everybody. So the same way, challenges of life have access to every business, but does not have control over every business. So one of the challenges I feel that businesses are facing today is working capital, because of the way of the devaluation of the naira have actually affected and also the power of purchase. So people's funds have been tied up in businesses and so on. So other challenges whereby people actually have outdated information how businesses should be. You remember when we were in school, we were told that business was about profit maximization. That was the definition that was given when I was in school. But little do I know that that was an outdated theory that no longer existing and does not stand water and can never stand or grow any businesses. Business are about value creation. And we don't make profit in business, we make margin in business. So over the years, we've been told that. So people actually go into business today, in the next 6 months, 1 year, they expect to make profits. And because they have been wired that when you start a business, they're definitely going to make profit and so on. In the first 3 months, the first 6 months, they're not making money, and they say, oh, this business is not working. It becomes a challenge for them. Without knowing the fact that when you start a business or any idea you give birth to, you need to water that idea, you need to nurture that idea, you need to believe that this idea must have a purpose for it. If a purpose will add value first, it is value that you dispense that the business have come to solve. Definitely they're going to give you money in return, which is margin. Because I tell you also, because there's a difference between entrepreneurship and a business owner in different ways. Now, entrepreneurs are driven by value, while business people are driven by profit. So when you are driven by profit and you're not seeing it, it becomes an issue with you. Another way where you realize is that entrepreneurs understand all entrepreneurs are business owners, but not all business owners are entrepreneurs. For instance, if a business owner may establish a business today and after 3 months they're not seeing when they close shop, but entrepreneur will not close shop, will say, what can I do in this space to be able to make money? Just like we said earlier on, technology invading our space, people no longer opening shops, people opening plazas today. I tell you, in the nearest 10 to 20 years, some of the, or not even some, most of the plazas become obsolete, because that is not the way we'll be doing this in the nearest future. People want to buy it at the comfort of their homes, and the result that becomes challenging. So another also is infrastructure. We don't have the right platform, the right infrastructure in place to do business excellently well, and also social amenities. The hot eye against business people in Nigeria is enormous. So and that aspect is actually affecting the way we should be able to make business. And finally, in that aspect, I tell people, as a business person out there, do not look at, you buy a product and you make certain amount, that is profit, that is not, that is margin. It's when you now invest your margin into a fixed deposit or something like that can pay you in return to tell you physically exchange your time for money, and that becomes a profit, and that is the only way you can probably get financial freedom. But most importantly, you must invest in yourself as a person, as a business person, because the speed of any organization is the speed of the CEO, and that is why you see most businesses die naturally. This is when the founder is dead, because they don't understand how to pass the ability and the ideas and innovation to the next generation. And that's how it works for me.
The last 10 to 15 years, Elvis, we're seeing in this country in particular how that it has become increasingly difficult, maybe I should say near impossible, to distinguish between those, especially young people, who are doing legitimate business work online, and those who are into fraudulent, unethical activities, on the internet or across social media platforms. First, how much of a challenge does this pose for us as a people and as a government? And in what ways can we establish ourselves in terms of image and reputation to say, look, we are not a Yahoo country. We have people who mind their business, know what they're doing, proud of what they're doing, adding value in ways that are measurable.
Again, I remember what I said to you, Nigerians are resilient people. They're very dynamic, and the way for my experience and what I've seen is that it is not from me, it is all scriptural. When the mind is dormant, anything can be fed on. So for me, if the government creates an enable environment, the right platform for young people to have a sense of direction, it actually reduces the insecurity of the way people go into what you say, and then Yahoo and so on. For instance, you have seen in this part of the world whereby young person wake up, go to school, your parents told you the best thing for you to succeed in life is to go to school. I was brainwashed into that, but thank God I discovered my purpose early before I actually graduated, and they go to school. Some came out with first class, second class, and so on. They have no job. What happens to them? They become dormant. They become useless to themselves. They become useless to society. So anything at that moment becomes their hobby. And people now come to them, maybe friends and family now come to them, this is how I used to make money and so on. But if you don't have a self-value for yourself, you get into that direction. However, if they are right platform, maybe there's a seminar that probably is taking place now in private sectors and so on. They go there and listen, you know what, you don't need to engage in crime, you don't need to do this, you don't do that. There's a way you can invest certain capacity within you. You can be able to make it. For instance, I use myself as an example. My company, Skywise Group, we have been in business over the last 9 years. Now, I say yes to my dream, to my idea. For the last 9 years, building business legitimately, where if I can say yes, and I actually came to this height because I attended seminar many years ago, even when I was in school. We used to go, we leave school, go and attend seminars. Sometimes we pay with our school fees because we want to learn, we want to get informed, we want to know what is ahead. And that's what I tell people today, young people, not just look at what is happening now, look at what will happen in the next 10 years, 20, 30 years. Ask yourself, are you prepared for what is coming? So don't probably engage in negativity by the way. Okay, for instance, we will not say my negative self or go and involve in crime. To what extent? And I'll lose everything I've built over the years, and I'll lose my reputation. What is more important to me about life? Because what I'm living for is more important than what I'm actually saying now. So it's more important young people need to understand that crime or going to negativity aspect to make money is just for a limited time. And it will not even give you peace of mind. It will only give you attainment, it will not give you fulfillment. Because you're not able to utilize even that fund, that resource. You're not able to come out to the public space and say, this is how, or you come and say, God did it. How did you tell us? How will you able to do the process? That's why most business people out there will not be, most people that are succeeding, they have money. Like I tell people, and I say,
cash is not wealth, it's not money. Real money is invisible, it's the mind, the output of a productive mind. For instance, if I lost everything to do in Skywise, I will build again, because you know why? I wasn't born with silver spoon, there is no godfatherism, there is no government intervention. I build from my mindset, from my idea, pure resilience, idea, speed, focus, tenacious, and determination to succeed. So I'm doing all this. I'm a young person. I'm in my late 30s. So I feel that if I can do it and I can achieve it, struggling every day, every other young person out there can do the same thing, irrespective of the odds against us. Are they hard? They were young before I was born. They are still all up to date, and they will still be all. Like I said, challenges of life, you cannot take it away from business, you cannot take it from humanity. It is part of us. But what is the difference? Entrepreneurs sees challenges as an opportunity, while business will see challenges as a roadmap to stop. That's
you made mention of, I just want to get clarity on that area, because when we were here, we advocate for people being educated, we know it's important, and then you can do, you can also help yourself by getting requisite skill, requisite knowledge outside of the four walls of the university. But you said that you have been rushed to go into university, but thank God you found your purpose in life. Are you saying that education is not important in this part of the world?
30-40 years ago, education is very, very important. Very, very. And like I said,
formal education.
Like I said, formal education was very, very important, and which is good. Like I told you earlier on, I was brainwashed in the sense that even though they told us, or what I was available at that point, that if you're a graduate at the early 90s, late 20s, a job is already waiting for you, right? Mm-hmm. And in fact, my ideal job was banking, which actually grew my background from. That if a bank employs you, they'll give you a car, they'll give you a house and everything. So this is what excites me. I say, no, I must be a graduate. And my interest you to know that actually family of 7, I am the only graduate, and I was probably the least expected to probably make something out of my life, because if you probably have gone through my antecedent and see what I've become today, you realize that this person that is sitting before you here this morning actually know how to read and write from SS1. So how to spell my name, Elvis, I started from XS1. But today now,
so until then you couldn't spell my name?
I couldn't spell my name, but because I actually found myself in secondary school, and someone asked, okay, how did you get to that point? It was maybe let my people go. You know, primary school and secondary school, they were in government school, just let my people go and so on. Maybe there was like a luck or something, or a grace upon my life, and that's how I got the button. And then I made up my mind, I said, you know what, I can't continue like this. There must be a difference. I went to my maker, I said, God, you created me. What is my purpose? Why am I here? How can my younger sister be in the same class with me? She can read very well, I can't read and so on. Then if you probably know you won't make something out of my life, take my life, let me leave this world. So we must come to that point in our life, begin to ask questions about ourselves, our being, our society. And guess what I tell people? Don't say before I was when I say, oh, we are the future, young people when I'm in primary school, we are the future of tomorrow and so on. And I tell them, don't look at the government alone in order for you to make a living. That's why I tell people, national economic transformation is no longer what we demand from the government anymore. It's what we demand from ourselves. What can I make out of my life? Look within yourself this space. So today now I'm an author of a book. Today now I build a business that is standing the test of time. I've passed through different challenges and so on. Now I'm actually helping young people back. I contribute I do seminars every month for young people to learn the skills of entrepreneurship. I train people on investment because of our certificate from Securities and Exchange Commission as an investment advisory. We educate people about different investment out there and so on.
Awesome. That's really great, Dr. Elvis. But let's, because of our time, I want us to just go back to continuity. How do we ensure continuity in business? Now that we have tech, we have innovation, because you made mention of when a person dies now, the business dies because the sole proprietor or the anchor man is no longer there. But how do we foster, how do we see to it that a business sees third, fourth generation and generations to come, particularly now that we have tech?
All right, so like I said, you remember what I said, the speed of any organization is the speed of the founder. So I don't want to believe in the narrative, when you know something, don't share it with your team or don't share it with your staff, they will steal your idea. It's normal. You cannot change that. It is normal in business where you train your competitors. You train somebody, your employees, they become the next, they are resigning because they know what you do. But guess what? I tell people, you are the visionary. If you steal my idea, you go and run with it. You are not the original owner of that idea. You become a copycat. And at that point in time, where I see challenges I succeed, when you get there, you failed because it is not your own idea. So at that point in time, what you know as a founder, as a business owner, share it with your team. In my own space, or if you have been to my office several times, I don't train staff. I don't employ staff. I employ entrepreneurs. So I train them every now and then to be an entrepreneur, so that even though I'm no longer alive today, this business will continue and stand the test of time. Like I just told you, just a few days ago, I bought books for all my staff. I said, go and read this book, and it's compulsory. And after 30 days, I'll call them back and ask anybody that failed, not giving what I'm looking for, it becomes an issue. So why? Because I'm trying to train them so that even though I'm not there, I fight them almost every now and then, because I'm not fighting them because they are not doing what they're supposed to do. And in fact, they don't rely on salaries. So most people today want jobs. They want just to get salaries. No, the world has changed. So what we're looking at, what are the value you are bringing to the workplace? So you must, at the matter that every day must count. Bring value to the workspace in everything you do. So for every business out there, for us to continue to keep continuity, we must, as a matter of necessity, what we know, pass it to them. Even though you have this fear of the unknown, if they know everything about this business and they will protect the business and they go and establish their own business. Well, if that's the only way for to build a great country, because one thing we must tell ourselves the truth. Like I told you, a business person will always want to probably take away that idea from people. Entrepreneur will not do that. Entrepreneur is willing to share everything within them to the next generation, to that team, because they understand the fact that entrepreneurs do not want to build businesses for themselves. They build it for generation unborn and for the nation at large. Just like we heard the other day, Dangote was talking about, I'm doing all this and not doing how many of this will eat, and that is true. People want to amass wealth and so on, want to build things and want to make money and so on. At the end of the let's assume, for instance, I am a billionaire in dollars. How many of this money will I be able to eat? I have houses around the world. Out of these houses around the world, I can only sleep in one house at a time. Even in that one house, this is a 6-bedroom mansion, I can only sleep in one corner of the bed. So what I tell people, do not just think about you yourself, think about other people. I understand the fact that some people whereby they don't have the capacity. And for me, like I will force you. When I force you to a level whereby I see that you are not will, because they have two type of people in the office, the fixed mindset and the growing mindset. So if I say that you're a fixed mindset, you don't want to grow, I give you a space. Because if I don't give you a space, you will definitely affect my speed. You're going to affect my productivity, because will not be a reason I like. I want to go to space, I want to go to this, I want to say you are here, so this is the level you have placed for yourself. Why me, I want to get to this place? So it become an issue. In the journey of life, there are 3 ways you get there. To me, and although there are many ways, I try to tell you. If I want to go to Lagos, so I can choose to go to use the airplane, I can choose to use the bus, I can choose to walk. So I will not allow you that I want to walk to Lagos to affect me that I want to fly. So you know how I work now. So because I want you to fly with me, I will pour what I know to you, so that even though when I am no longer there, you understand that where I was alive, this is what I said I want to do. I want to fly. For instance, let's use the word of Apple, Steve Jobs. It's no longer alive, but you can see how Apple is being sold every now and then. It was a vision and a vision. And according to CNN, they categorize Steve Jobs as a spiritual man. Why? Because of his vision, his passion, and his commitment. That is what I believe on. Jesus Christ. Let me go. If I don't go, you will not grow. So people have to understand the fact that you need to release everything in you. And in a word of the motivational speaker that will say, die empty. Pour it out to young people, and that becomes your success. That value that someone passed through this world. Mandela came to this world and learned about his work is speaking today. So the only way for us to have continuity in business and in life is to pour out everything we know to the younger generation.
All right, we're going to take a quick break now, Elvis. When we return, just a few more issues to discuss on the program, and that's what we'll wrap it up just after the short break. Stay with us, everyone. Global Morning is your ultimate destination for engaging political and economic matters. I am Uyi Agmofwebe.
And don't forget to include social discussions. Tune in every weekdays from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. I am Queen. Agaba.
For insightful breakfast ideas, business summaries, sports highlights, international and local news perspective, I am Anthony Momodu.
Don't miss the in-depth analysis of current and political issues by the Global Morning team and experts. I am Jumai Manson.
Catch Global Morning here on Global Television. Getting on the action. I am Edikan Michael.
We are
the Global Morning team.
It turns out this is what we're calling, during the curtains on this conversation. We've been talking with Elvis Bouire. He's an entrepreneur, of course, an innovator as well, who has been shedding lights on what individuals, corporate entities, businesses, and even Nigeria as a nation, of course, indeed, Africa as a continent, can and should do going forward to be able to drive not just tech, but entrepreneurship. In fact, this says we need more entrepreneurs than business people, because we can take it from the Chinese, from the Japanese, what they've done in the last couple of decades, and it's better to learn from other people's example than to spend half of your lifetime on the entire lifetime creating your own example. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
You're welcome.
We appreciate it.
Thank you, Dr. Elvis, for coming on the program. But lastly, let me just put this lastly, because I understand that if you have a mentor, if you do have a mentor, your journey is short because you have someone who has walked through that part that you're taking by the hand. For young people now, how do they get mentorship in regards to business? How do business owners, young SMEs who are looking up to businesses that have tried, that have seen a very rigorous moment and have survived, how do they begin to take a cue from such businesses and or even affiliate themselves with such businesses?
Okay, so what I tell people is that if you want to get a mentor in the area of the direction of the result you want to see in your life and in your business. Don't just get in a mentor because this person is good or this person has made money. No. If I want to advise you, want to get mentor people where that have built organically. Don't just get mentors. Oh, this person is well done, this, that. Critically and unfortunately, I actually do not have a man as a mentor. I only have role models. I look up to them. I look at their work from afar. I look at what they have done. I look at how far they have gotten to the peak of their career. To me, I won't say they have gotten to the peak because they are still trying to get it. Because that's one thing about entrepreneurs. We are always hungry. When we get to a particular level of our life, we feel that that will probably be the all. We will not get there. We will not discover that there are better ways or more journey, more road to climb, and so on. So get mentors in the right of the direction of the result you want to see for yourself. If you want to be a business owner, let's say for instance automobile, you don't need to go and get a mentor that's into finance. So you get a mentor in that direction. And if you want to be vast, just like what we're doing at the Skywise Group, we have the Skywise Global Investment Services.
We might need to refer to our commercial department for advice right now.
Because you're talking about, so I just have to just be able to share light based on your viewers and so on. So get a mentor in the area of direction of what you want to see. Sometimes these mentors do not come cheap. You have to pay for it. So, for instance, because for mentorship, because right now everybody are busy. Time is no longer. They are available for more people. So when you need to get their time, and sometimes payment does not mean in cash. Sometimes maybe they are doing something. You can just be there. They are your presence also, like in terms of buying. They will look at you.
Support them with your time.
Maybe on their birthdays, go out there and wish them happy birthday and so on. So you are attracted because somehow though the world is being operate these days, you hardly have many. Except the one whereby they have decided to have training mentorship. But what I tell you in that aspect also, with the difference between you and those mentors who are called training mentors, they only have time. They read books and they come and tell you that, but that's the same book whereby you can actually buy yourself and also read. So
and know the same
thing they know. So the best mentor out there, people that have actually climbed the ladder of success, climb, not jump. They have grown organically from one level to another. So if they want to mentor, they begin to mentor, say, oh, this is where I failed, this is where you should not, don't try this way, and so on. Just like yesterday, many people look up to me as a mentor in their area where they're coming up. So I told one guy yesterday, actually, he posted something on his social media platform, and I told him, I said, no, go and remove it. Because you know why? We are in a world whereby whatever you do in the social space, they used to judge you. So it does not align with your personality. People should not know your secret place. Some people say me today, I don't want by now to pray. And I won't go to church, but I know that's where I draw my strength from. Because in this life, you must belong to a Kaaba. It's either you belong to the worldly Kaaba or you belong to the Almighty God Kaaba. And that is why it's everywhere. So you draw your mentor. So me, I seek my mentor from the Holy Spirit. And because why? Because I understand that everything I need to succeed in life and godliness, God has already given it to me and is inside of me. So every day I begin to consult the Holy Spirit. What do you think about it? What do you think? So if it's going to real estate, I have properties and so on here and there, but I'm not fully giving it.
So you're saying that people should also understand that life is beyond the physical. Of course. So regardless of your faith, whether you are a Muslim, you are a Christian, because I don't even Steve Jobs that you made a mission to also has said the same thing. Yes. That you've got to believe in something.
You must believe in something.
Right. In addition to your skill set, to your competence, and your capacity.
Absolutely. In fact, you want to know the truth. Life is spiritual. Everything that you see physically, including your station and so on, actually take from spiritually. How do you mean? Because this is an idea that came from your being. Just like what happened in the Bible says, oh, destroy this temple, in 3 days I will build it. When he said, how can you build something you build over the years, over decades and so on? It's not what I'm building in 3 days, I'm building inside of you. So everything we need to succeed in life and godliness is already inside.
Incidentally, time will fail us to do this conversation because it's as if we reserved the best for the last. But it's fine. We're excited knowing that we're going to get you to share some light on this very important issue. Elvis, I'm here for coming. We hope you enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Thank you so much.
Great. We'll take a quick break now. Everyone, when we return, Queen and I, we take you back to the papers and look at a few more headlines for you. Don't go away. Global Morning is your ultimate destination for engaging political and economic matters. I am Uyi Agmofrebe.
And don't forget to include social discussions. Tune in every weekdays from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. I am Queen Agaba.
For insightful breakfast ideas, business summaries, sports highlights, international and local news perspective, I am Anthony Momodu.
Don't miss the in-depth analysis of current and political issues by the Global Morning team and experts. I am Jumai Manson.
Catch Global Morning here on Global Television. Getting on the action. I am Edikan Michael.
We are
the Global Morning team.
Global Morning is your ultimate destination for engaging political and economic matters. I am Uyi Agmofwebe.
And don't forget to include social discussions. Tune in every weekdays from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. I am Queen Agaba.
For insightful breakfast ideas, business summaries, sports highlights, international and local news perspective, I am Anthony Momodu.
Don't miss the in-depth analysis of current and political issues by the Global Morning team and experts. I am Jumai Manson.
Catch Global Morning here on Global Television. Getting on the action. I am Edikan Michael.
We are
the Global Morning team.
Thanks for staying with us. We will now look at what the rest of the papers are saying for us. And now this time around we're looking at the Punch newspaper. Big story on the Punch newspaper says, Edo governorship poll, APC, PDP, Labour Party trade tackles as parties mobilize huge funds for vote buying. APC, PDP, Labour trade tackles as parties mobilize huge funds for vote buying. Parties may pay 20,000 naira per vote. EFCC, INEC won against inducements. We also have actresses' bodies, their most valuable assets, according to Hilda Dokubo. And then we also have here current Super Eagles labeled 1994 squad chemistry, according to Peter Rufai. And we have mass poisoning, freed Nigerian Canadian woman justifies threat. On Saturday's Punch also we have unanswered questions on 1 year after Mohbad's death. Unanswered questions 1 year after Mohbad's death. These are the stories we have on the Saturday Punch newspaper.
All right, that's interesting. Let's see if we have something different from the Saturday Sun for you. Says flood of woes. That's a big story on the front page of the Saturday Sun with 4 riders there. Lamentations in Borno, Kaduna. Losses can't be quantified. Zulum, that's the governor of Borno State. Affected persons rise to 2 million. Victims recounts nightmare count losses. Anxiety in Bayelsa, Anambra, Benue as water levels rise. Okay, you can read all those details, by the way, on pages 4, 5, and 28. NESG, 104 million Nigerians living in poverty. This is not even coming from the IMF or the World Bank now. This is coming from the Nigeria Economic Summit Group, NESG. The writer tells us persons facing acute hunger to hit 26 million. That is on page 27 of the Saturday Sun today. And as we take it down now, there's one headline with a picture of former governor of Imo State, Hakeem. It says, Tinubu's presidency highly challenged. That's Ike Hakeem there talking on page 24. What's more, FG promotes over 20,000 civil defense, fire service, corrections, immigration officers. All of that's coming from the Minister of Interior. I'll turn down Sweeter, who doesn't support my career. Imade Osawaru, actress, is the one saying that. Owa Oboko's death, Palace markets closed. Palace says no curfew imposed as 90-day traditional rights begin. Okay, the issue of poverty is not something we can exhaust in terms of conversation in one day, so we're just going to let it be as we turn to the Saturday Telegraph.
On the Saturday Telegraph, big story here, quite a number of stories we have on the front page of the Saturday Telegraph. Big story says 2027 PDP ticket, Tambuwal Makinde Bala team up to dislodge Atiku. Rider there says deadlock over presidential candidates running mate. We also have Oyo government insists on Yoruba candidacy. Bauchi government, ex-Sokoto Bauchi governor, ex-Sokoto governor bank on popularity, executive seniority. We also have just above the nameplate of Saturday Telegraph, federal government to workers, you will start enjoying minimum wage soon. It says meetings ongoing, political parties taking advantage of Nigerians, according to Trade Union Congress. We also have to end insecurity, Nigeria must tackle poverty and unemployment. This is attributed to the Chief of Army Staff. He says troops neutralize notorious bandits, Sububu, others in Zamfara State. We have Maiduguri's flood. Federal government warns of impending drinking water contamination. Approves 108 billion naira for victims. Shatima pledges continued support for flood victims. Borno to constitute multi-stakeholders committee to undertake assessment, according to Zulu. We also have on the Saturday Telegraph, Edo or Eid Maulud, I beg your pardon, Eid Maulud. Federal government declares Monday public holiday to offer free CNG conversion for vehicles in Abuja and Kaduna, and also meets World Bank on power sector reform. Sanitation, only 37 million Nigerians have access to UNICEF, have access, I beg your pardon, as UNICEF seeks urgent action. Controversy over lifting of Dangote Petroleum from Sunday. Norman expresses optimism. I'm not aware, Dangote's spokesman is saying about the lifting of Dangote Petroleum from Sunday. I'm ready to be vice president if there's better candidate. Peter Obi saying that he's willing to be vice president. So it's not even about having to be the number one, but he will be vice if there is a better candidate.
So there's a proviso there saying that, I mean, more like a precondition to say that the only basis on which I'll agree or accept to be a running mate or vice president is if there's a better candidate. So it means you have to put, as it were, some sort of standards or measures in place to determine who is a better candidate between Mr. Peter Obi and someone else. But I think politicians know how to walk themselves around that kind of conversation, right?
Interesting. And then lastly here we have Nigeria at 64. To be a nation, we need to ensure justice and equity, according to Okiro. These are the stories we have on the Saturday Telegraph. You are bringing us the Saturday Times.
All right, let's turn to the Saturday Times for you. Above the nameplates, a headline with a picture of President Bola Tinubu reads, lawyer sues Tinubu Police Council over alleged unlawful extension of IGP's tenure. Those details are with you on page 4. That's another controversial issue. Some report says the tenure of the current Inspector General of Police, Mr. Kayode Egbetokun, has been extended by 3 years, but we'll see how it pans out. Incidentally, his principal, the president, is not in the country at the moment, but it's an issue that will find a resolution at some point. All right, then Mr. Dangote has his picture against the headline here. Flood, Dangote donates 2 billion naira, urges support to Borno. FG declares Monday as public holiday to mark Eid al-Maulid. Again, that's on page 4 in terms of the details. Edo 2024 ripples as Obaseki raises alarm, alleges plot by ANEC to postpone poll. Those are all still in the realm of allegations. All right, so we'll see how it pans out. Incidentally, the election is just 7 days away from today. So by this time next Saturday, polls will be underway. Voters will be at their different polling units across the state, and it's just a matter of time before we know who the successor to Obaseki will be. Right. 2 riders with that big story says Oshomole APC campaign with police helicopter. Commission not aware of such plans. That's like debunking Mr. Obaseki's allegation. All right, once more. Yes, I have engaged in threesome. BBN's Victoria confesses. Isn't that some sort of TMI, like too much of information? But
too much of information.
It's 2024. We should expect almost anything, right? A 20-year-old varsity student kills classmate for money ritual. That's a sad tale that has its details on page 2 of the Saturday Times. I wasted 10 years of my life working in government. Dauda, you find it on page 15. How notorious bandit Halilu Sububu, 38 other terrorists were killed in Zamfara. We understand this man is believed to be the Oga, as we say in Africa, to the now desperately wanted Bello Turiji. New twist to ex-minister's paternity case has called bars police from investigations. Right? On what basis did the court bar police from investigation? Find out from page 4 of the Saturday Times. Queen will walk us through the big stories on the front page of the Saturday Tribune.
And before I walk us through the front page of the Saturday Tribune, I want to react to this story of a 20-year-old varsity student killing classmates for money ritual. The stories like this in the past few weeks, recently, back to back, we've had stories like this. One in Lagos, in Ikorodu, Lagos, who happens to have killed his sister, his ex-girlfriend, and now a colleague or classmate of his, and burying her in his own compound. So stories like this, when we hear it, it's disheartening, and it's appalling as well. Like, how did we get here? Where are we going to? What kind of orientation do our young people have as to what money is, what life is, what is the value of the human life to some people or to an average person? You know, is it hunger? Is it quest for? I know that the country has had things that are difficult, but even before now, people who happen to be in secondary school, universities, don't have so much responsibility as to want to kill another person. How much are you trying to raise? Asking for ransom. We heard you asked for a ransom of 350,000 and went further to ask for 10 million naira, even after killing the girl. So I'm wondering, it's a question I'm posing and I'm asking, how did we get here? And then I'm reacting to this one happened in the US where a 12-year-old killed her cousin who's 8-year-old because of an iPhone. And then the story is messy. I didn't know how to react to it because I was like, these are material things and we're hearing human life in exchange for these material things. I hope that more orientation, our secondary schools, primary schools, university need to do a whole of parents, particularly because you are focal to the well-being of your child. You need to do a whole lot of orientation. You need to tell them about these things that are mundane and how, a time will come where you have access to most of these things that you have if you put in the right work and the right energy where it needs to be, and then nothing, absolutely nothing equates to human life. And I hope that we'll continue to do this much orientation. I'm reacting to the Saturday Tribune now, the front page. big story here says Nigerians struggling to survive, say Muslim leaders. Commiserate to Borno people over flood disaster. We also have we've lost everything, according to the victims. FAO warns of worsening food insecurity in Nigeria. Above the nameplate, we have Nigeria turning into a police state. Hunger alarming. Gani Adams says this is attributed to Gani Adams, and I think it's the submission of every other Nigerian right now. Untold story of how man killed grandfather and uncle in Ibadan. This is just what we were talking about.
Right. Another sad story.
Another sad story. Suspect arraigned and remanded in prison. I met native doctor on TikTok. 20-year-old narrates how he killed Kogi Varsity female students for money rituals. I mean, back in the days, we don't even hear of native doctors on the internet. You hear they are in the bushes, they're in very interior areas, rural areas, shrines and all that. But because, and when we talk about technology, we're talking about the lessons that comes with technology and how technology has helped us to advance. Businesses are thriving because of social media. Businesses are thriving because of technology, innovations, and likewise the rates of crimes, criminality is thriving, and all sorts of vices. And now we hear of these native doctors, and because we're in a world where most of our young people are social media savvy and social media inclined, so they have access. Too much of access too can be a problem. And so they have access to, they don't need to walk thousands of miles to get to a native doctor or go to a shrine, you know, with all that scare of the forest and, you know, go to, you can just, with the click of a button, you're interacting with a native doctor who will tell you, do this, do this, do this. You're doing virtual consultation, and then you're taking human life. So as much as technology is a blessing, there should be some sort of restriction or censorship or, you know, some sort, because yes,
some guardrails.
Exactly, young people are propelled, young people are initiated online, and they are tutored, mentored to cause havoc and even take human lives in the same society. And I'm sure this native doctor and many others like that are on social media. They even send you WhatsApp messages now. They're on Facebook. They advertise whatever it is they are doing. You see blogs, you see pods. They do videos. These people should be should also be remanded. Likewise, this 20-year-old, and a lot needs to be done about it. Also, we have Gandhi, others paying last respect as Oyo APC chairman Omoderu is buried. Federal government promotes 20,867 civil defense, immigration, prison fire service officers. Government declares Monday public holiday to mark Eid-ul-Maulud. These are the stories that we have on the front page of Saturday Tribune.
All right, let's look at the weekend trusts for you. Of course, as expected, quite a number of the stories from other papers are also replicated here this morning, but we begin with the one just immediately below the nameplates. It says Gani Adams, Ajero Tureji Agwavoy in the news. So you can find those big headlines on page 15 of the weekend trusts this morning. What else we have? X-raying many missed deadlines of Port Harcourt refinery resumption. All right, that's a big story. Of course, we have seen many plans, many promises, but nothing has really happened in ways that are tangible. Why I take the bullet for PDP, Damagu, now the interim chairman of the party, says APC campaigning for us ahead 2027. We will win elections if members unite. Sule Lambido, selfish interests responsible for our problems. Abba Moro is the one saying that. NAF kills bandits kingpin Kachala, 38 others. That story is replicated across dailies today. Inside declining fortunes of Yankari game reserved, as on page 28. Incidentally, time will fail us to go any further with the papers this morning. But then I'm sure we've given you enough reasons to pick up copies of these papers for yourself.
Absolutely,
and stay ahead of the news.
And there's something dynamic about it in Saturday papers.
Right.
There are a little bit of off the usual news stories, and heavy stories. So stories that you can read, learn, and even discourse on a more relaxed tone.
Right.
Well, with that, this is where we draw the curtain on Global Morning Weekend. We hope that we've been able to, keep you abreast of all that has been happening over the week and presently in the country until tomorrow, where Edika and Michael will walk you through the papers. From myself, Queen Agaba, and my colleague Uyi Agbomofuegbo, we say have a beautiful weekend. See you again.
Global Morning is your ultimate destination for engaging political and economic matters. I am Uyi Agbomofuegbo.
And don't forget to include social discussions. Tune in every weekdays from 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. I am Queen Agaba.
For insightful breakfast ideas, business summaries, sports highlights, international and local news perspective, I am Anthony Momodu.
Don't miss the in-depth analysis of current and political issues by the Global Morning team and experts. I am Jumai Manson.
Catch Global Morning here on Global Television. Getting on the action. I am Edikan Michael.
We are
the